Volume 6, Number 7, July 4th, 2026. This podcast presents concise summaries of each of the articles and columns in this issue of OCN in the order they appeared in the paper. For details, please refer to the articles and columns, which are posted at ocn.me. Update July 1st, 2026. Buc-ee's EPCO LLC did not receive administrative approval and has 30 days to appeal to the Board of County Commissioners or seek rezoning to a district that would allow the travel center. The proposed project includes about a 74,000 square foot building, 120 fueling positions, around 20 electric vehicle charging stations, roughly 790 parking spaces, and bicycle parking, with no on-site seating. The review, which focused on use classification rather than construction or operations, was expected by early July. Public comments totaled 95 pages by June 23rd, mostly opposing the development. County notes state these are not part of the official record, but are in the project file for reference. The public can view the request and supporting materials, including an 11-page argument in favor, traffic study, and site plan, on the Buc-ee's update page and the project details site, with contact options for further comments. The June 18th El Paso County Planning Commission recommended denial for two map amendment requests on MA Subdivision Tract A at Highway 83 and Walker Road, rezone proposals RM12 and RM30. For number P261, the proposal sought 12 ringgit, up to 12 dwelling units per acre, on 7.65 acres, with parcel 61150110001 owned by MA Infrastructure LLC. For number P262, the proposal sought 30 ringgit, up to 30 dwelling units per acre, on 7.79 acres, for the same MA Subdivision Tract A parcel 61150110001. The Commission's 6-1 votes to disapprove cited failure to meet approval criteria, specifically general conformance with the El Paso County Master Plan and compatibility with surrounding land uses. Commissioner Thomas Bailey provided the sole dissent, noting the intersection at Highway 83 and 105 as a dividing line and acknowledging nearby non-residential uses that differentiate the area's character. Both applications are scheduled for a Board of County Commissioners hearing on July 23rd. The board approved a contract with Falcon AeroLab to enhance the homeschool enrichment program, with operations potentially housed at the Methodist Church in Kings Deer and possibly integrated into the Career and Innovation Center later. Falcon AeroLab will offer programs for students aged 6 through high school, including gliders, drones, and various certifications, aiming to address aviation and aerospace labor needs in Colorado. The 2026-27 budget was approved as presented. It assumes $11,125 per pupil in PPOR, a projected 164 student enrollment decline, and a $2 million reduction in funding for operated schools, with potential additional state funding of up to $3 million that may be one-time or recurring. Capital improvements funding is set at $2.5 million, and the district projects a savings plan that could cut $2.9 million in expenses and implement a 2.03% district-wide pay increase. Amendments reflect attrition and cost control efforts. The district announced progress on spring assessments and accountability measures, including the Career and Innovation Center Phase 2 activities, the Graduation Requirements Task Force, and plans to submit unified improvement plans and accredit schools in the fall. Added security measures were approved, including an extra armed security guard at elementary schools to address prevention and architectural concerns, following a 2024 security assessment. The Monument Academy Board approved the amended proposed annual budget, use of beginning fund balance, and interfund borrowing, while projecting 2026 to 27 enrollment with modest growth and a flat per-pupil revenue due to potential state funding changes. Incoming and returning board members were sworn in and assigned leadership roles effective July 1st, with Lindsay Clinton as president, Craig Carl as vice president, Jalinda Digert as secretary, and Joe Fantacone as treasurer. Fantaccone and Adam Fisher are newly elected with 3-year terms. Enrollment projections for 2026 to 27 show increased overall FTE from 1,046.12 to 1,106.62, including positive trends at West and East campuses, and a high school retention rate at 100% for rising seniors. The board approved several curricula and policies, including moving the Director of Academics to full-time, and adopted funds allocations for a track and field project and other budget adjustments related to bond refinancing. Finance updates indicated current year results through April show a net loss across the schools, largely due to track and field spending, with a plan to seek reimbursement from bond refinancing. Observations noted ongoing legislative changes to homeschool enrichment and marketing efforts for Massachusetts, with a future virtual meeting set to advance parental review of the high school curriculum. Woodmoor Public Safety will increase patrols for July 4th due to dry conditions and strict enforcement of no firework rules, with potential fines up to $5,000 for any ignition-embedded firework activity. Fire risk conditions are high, and WPS emphasizes that anything that must be ignited is treated as a firework and will be fined. Additional patrols and personnel have been authorized for the holiday. The wood chipping program had a strong start, processing 400 loads on Father's Day, with a new site set up praised. The next chipping days are July 18th to 19th at Lewis Palmer High School, free for Woodmoor residents and $20 for non-residents. The purple-tinted house controversy: the ACC confirmed the color swatch matches an acceptable gray, but from the street it appears purplish. A process change discussed includes requiring applicants to show other homes using the proposed color, or granting a one-time approval with future reconsideration. Other ongoing items: new officer Reese Allen is performing well. There are covenant and HOA enforcement notes, including liens on 74 properties and discussions about dog/leash rules, and possible bear-related fines under state law. The Pikes Peak Mayor's Caucus Proclamation commits monument to combating human trafficking by raising awareness, education, and survivor resources, with ongoing collaboration from community and social organizations. Representatives promoting the 78th Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo announced the Western Street Breakfast on June 17th and the National Finals Rodeo Open July 14th to 18th, inviting community participation. The mayor planned to attend the street breakfast at 5 a.m. on the 17th. Finance updates included preliminary user fee study results to inform setting fees, potential increases for planning permits and business licenses, and a 5-year forecast underscoring ongoing revenue and expense management needs. Ordinance number 14-2026 rezoned the Beacon Light Road water tank site to public, P, to align zoning with its municipal utility use, and several budget and policy measures were adopted to improve fiscal controls and preparedness. The council approved resolutions to update the 2026 budget, restated, and adopt new financial management policies, including an inventory policy, a water leak adjustment policy, and ACH fraud monitoring. In planning matters, the council directed staff to prepare ballot language for a 1.5% use tax contingent on road and infrastructure improvements, and discussed delaying data center growth via a temporary moratorium to protect land use and resources. The Monument Planning Commission advanced a major shift for the Falcon Commerce Center, moving from high-density multifamily rentals to a lower-density single-family neighborhood at a 42.66-acre southern parcel on Terrazzo Drive, cutting density by 59% from prior approvals. The proposal, by Elite Properties of America LLC, envisions Santa Fe Meadows with 205 total lots, 135 detached homes, and 70 attached townhomes, replacing the originally planned 500-unit multi-family complex under the 2022 preliminary PUD framework. The plan includes 2 direct connections to the Santa Fe Trail, a 3.27-acre formal park, and 7.45 acres of informal open space, and a 60-foot setback from the trail to preserve landscape integrity and views. Infrastructure impacts are reduced. A traffic study indicates no negative effects on nearby roads or the Terrazzo Drive West Baptist Road intersection due to the lower unit count. And stormwater will drain via a public system through 2 detention facilities with water quality treatment. The development includes environmental and defensive measures near the USAF Academy, such as a 50-foot landscaping buffer, an avigation easement, and a military activity disclosure note in covenants to inform future residents about nearby training operations. The Planning Commission recommended approval to the Town Council with 2 conditions: final PUD plan, contingent on the Council's zoning amendment adoption, and final plat materials, including a localized geotechnical report for shallow groundwater near detention ponds. The next step is a public hearing and ordinance consideration by the Town Council. Despite concerns over redactions and transparency issues, to avoid additional interest and late fees, the board vote 4-1 to approve payment of outstanding legal invoices from JVAMP LLC. Trustees had previously postponed action on the invoices to review discrepancies between the original proposal and final contract terms, including payment changes and interest charges. The town is advancing personnel and safety efforts, including reviewing 27 applicants to be permanent town administrator and increasing traffic enforcement via a speed trailer. Water infrastructure remains urgent, with a nearly 90-year-old main on Shady Lane slated for replacement and about $148,000 redirected from a planned water tank coating project to address the repair need. Governance tensions persist. An ongoing investigation involving trustee Roger Mosley prompted the board to hire Lyons Gaddis as special counsel to define the investigation process, with a 3-1 vote and Mosley recused. The board also approved administrative changes and planning updates, including the zoning map ordinance, Planning Commission appointments, and discussions with the Monument Fire District on potential collaboration for fire protection. Trustees 8S Jurka and Roger Mosley gave their views regarding ongoing governance turmoil in Palmer Lake. With multiple resignations, legal actions, and questions about financial management and town administration, Jurka noted that Town Administrator Don Collins resigned, followed by interim handling of duties by Police Chief Glenn Smith, and Mayor Glant Havenar resigned after text message disclosures. The board has seen internal turnover with 3 trustees recalled or resigned. Shauna Ball, Kevin Dreyer recalled, Dennis Stern became mayor, Mike Boyette, Tim Caves, Amy Hudson resigned. Jurka had 3 attorneys resigned, the last of whom represented the town for just 2 months. Financial and development concerns were raised, including questions about mixing general fund and water enterprise funds, potential misuse other funds, and discussions about consolidating fire services and property tax implications. Mosley alleged governance failures after his wife's Planning Commission resignation, citing Cora requests and disputes over records. He filed lawsuits alleging misused funds and questioned the legitimacy of the mayor's tenure. There is a dispute over staff complaints against Mosley, with a letter claiming a prima facie case of a hostile work environment, while Mosley contends he raised his voice in response to uncooperative staff and disputes the town's handling of complaints. The board did not take action on creating an emergency interconnect between WWSD and Triview Metropolitan District, though the proposal to install a stub during Higbee Road widening was discussed and deemed time-sensitive. Officials noted potential pressure differential and the possible need for a pump system if an interconnect were pursued, and highlighted that WWSD currently has no emergency interconnects with other districts. The Loop Water Reuse Project was described as boosting WWSD resiliency, with design progress about 30% complete for the advanced water treatment plant, pipelines, pumps, and Calhan Reservoir expansion, and Construction Manager at Risk, CMAR, is the chosen delivery method. Financials through April showed revenue at 31% of budget, expenses at 18%, and a net positive of $1.2 million. Water sales in April were 1.2 million gallons less than the previous year, but the district has cash in the bank for projects. Updates included leasing water to Arkansas Groundwater and Reservoir Association in May, 311 acre-feet for $47,000, and increased May water demand, with wells 12, 20, and 21 out of service, prompting a switch to surface water from Lake Woodmoor. Other items covered included a pending purchase agreement for the Sundance Pipeline, ongoing traffic and utility adjustments for Monuments Road projects, maintenance plans for the aerial sewer outfall, and an executive session for legal advice. The next meeting is July 13th. The Monument Sanitation District Board unanimously approved the inclusion petition to bring the parcel at 704 North Washington Street into the MSD service area. The petitioner, J. Stark Holdings, LLC owner John Vandervalk, plans to build a coffee shop initially, and later add 2 or 3 small commercial spaces, with the sewer line and lift station costs borne by Vandervalk. MSD would own the lift station after construction. The proposed sewer line would run east under the Santa Fe Trail to reach MSD infrastructure, and the property would use water from a well. There were no public comments on the petition, and the board closed the hearing after the presentation by District Manager Mark Parker. Parker reported the district is operating without issues, plans to clean 2 lift stations, and ongoing meetings with El Paso County about work on Beacon Light Road. He clarified the Buc-ee's project is not connected to the Beacon Light Road improvements. Parker also noted high volumes of Colorado Open Records Act requests are increasing legal costs and staff time, with legal costs about $3,000 over budget and recoverable only for staff time, not for the requester's costs. The Donala Water and Sanitation District Board designated John Kuosman as its representative for Upper Monument Creek Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility, UMCRWWTF decisions, and authorized a public relations contract not to exceed $85,000. Resolution 2026-4 gives Kuosman the district's vote on UMCRWWTF decisions. President Wayne Vanderschuer called it a normal transitional document. Resolution 2026-5 authorizes Kuosman to procure a public relations firm to guide water resiliency program communications, with a second contract to handle a customer survey firm. 3 firms were interviewed with 1 more planned. Kuosman reported Willow Creek Ranch flumes are being recalibrated for fire mitigation work by the Arkansas River Water Collaborative, scheduled to begin June 25th. He will attend an UMCRWWTF board meeting in August. He commended the Donala wastewater team for maintaining water flow during recent control system issues and a failed variable flow device, and noted Holbein water treatment plant issues were resolved. Planned CCTV pipeline inspections were announced. Kuosman indicated Loop's cost estimates are not expected until early 2027, 60% designs. So budgeting will use 30% design estimates available in September 2026. Sundance pipeline payments will wait until 60% estimates are available. The Triview Metropolitan District plans an August 14th ribbon cutting and open house for the new district office at 1641 Baja Drive Monument to showcase the space and provide educational materials as landscaping is finalized. The Northern Monument Creek Interceptor project move toward issuing revenue bonds is advancing, with TMD receiving an A+ rating from S&P and Build America Mutual, ensuring the bonds at a favorable cost, helping set available interest rates. A 37-inch discharge pump at the South Reservoir needs removal, evaluation, and repair. The pump is out of warranty, and local contractors are gathering quotes, with the option to ship to Florida for repair under consideration. Hydrological data show May to June, river flows well below historical averages, below 50 cubic feet per second versus over 200 cubic feet per second, prompting questions about the adequacy of TMD water rights and ongoing management of Fountain Mutual Irrigation Company and other rights. The district's financial audit for June 2nd to 4th is underway, with 5 Haney & Company auditors on site and findings to be presented in July, while continuing support from Fromm & Company. An executive session addressed intergovernmental agreements with Donala Water and Sanitation and property-related negotiation details. The writer recalls moving to Monument during COVID, noting initial isolation compared to past moves, but soon finding connection through the OCN. They describe the OCN as the starting point for community connection, highlighting organizations, events, people, and positivity it showcased. The writer expresses gratitude after meeting OCN volunteers like Janet Sellers and Jackie Burhans, emphasizing the humans behind the organization. OCN is praised as a snapshot of positivity, awareness, meaningful moments, and the stories that shape the community. The article centers on celebrating America's history, values, and heritage through a selection of books for children and adults. It highlights a range of works from picture books for families to scholarly analyses, covering American founding moments, civic ideals, and notable individuals. Titles include We the People by Jill Lepore, American Struggle by John Meacham, and This Land is Your Land by Beverly Gage. It notes additional works like National Geographic's 1000 Moments in U.S. History and Seuss's Archival Discovery Mapbook. The Summer Adventure Reading Program continues through July 31st, with prizes for ages through 18 upon registration and after completing 30 days of activities, and adults receive a light and a chance at a grand prize. Regular Monument Library programs run all summer, including story time on Tuesdays, Socrates Cafe, Pause to Read, and Toddler Time, plus ongoing teen and adult activities with registration where noted. Special July events include a teen craft group on July 6th and 20th, an opioid overdose recognition and Narcan workshop for ages 18 plus, a teen advisory board meeting on July 9th, and a tea blend workshop for adults on July 11th. The library also offers age-specific activities such as a summer reading candle-making event on July 13th for ages 16 to 24, a summer fun program at the Rocky Mountain Dinosaur Resource Center on July 14th, and a babysitting certification class on July 27th. Tech help sessions are available July 16th for laptop, smartphone, and catalog assistance without registration, while several other crafts and science programs for tweens and teens run throughout July. The 2026 Palmer Divide and Colorado Front Range mountain pine beetle outbreak is tied to the statewide drought since 2020 and ongoing ponderosa pine mortality, with no immediate end in sight unless natural conditions mitigate it. Recent heavy rains in late June 2026 may help trees resist a beetle population upswing, but the outbreak remains a persistent concern for private forests and wildfire risk. The recommended mitigation strategy emphasizes interrupting brood success at outbreak start by removing infested trees before the next generation. Timing is crucial, ideally by early to mid-June. After mid-June, options narrow to protecting high-value trees with pesticides or pheromone repellents and avoiding transporting infested trunk wood around forested areas. For 2026, thinning private forests to reduce competition and wildfire spread is advised, with infestation inventories and trunk removals planned for fall 2026 through winter 2026 to 2027, plus strategic handling of trunk wood, solar treatment, burial, chipping, or sawing. Homeowners should actively harden their homes and create defensible space to improve survival during a wildfire, even if the home is left to defend itself. Recommendations include removing flammable material from or under decks, mowing grass, and thinning trees around the house to increase visibility and defendability for firefighters with limited resources. Inviting local fire department, Forest Service, or trained volunteers to speak at neighborhood or HOA meetings can help neighbors collaborate on risk reduction efforts. Taking action today reduces risk and helps ensure you've done what you can if evacuation becomes necessary. All unincorporated areas of El Paso County are now under Stage 2 burn restrictions. No fireworks, prescribed burns, campfires on public property, or outdoor smoking. Alpaca manure is described as a cold, non-burning fertilizer that improves soil structure and moisture retention in home gardens. The article notes alpaca pellets act like tiny air pockets in clay soil, helping water reach roots during dry spells when mixed with dry leaves or pine needles. It states horse manure can also benefit gardens, with caveats. Check for recent medicines, and let the manure cure in a pile for a few weeks to prevent weed seeds. The piece connects backyard gardening with a broader Western mountain phenomenon, where wild horses act as ecosystem engineers by trimming tall grasses and aerating soil with hooves. It confirms a biological link between domestic horses and wild horses in supporting healthier soils and natural fertilization. The article introduces the architecture of awe, a concept for large-scale nature-based visual fields designed to trigger physiological rest and reduce stress in public and institutional spaces. The approach draws from the author's past public installations in Colorado and California, where large murals and color fields produced collective emotional lifts and a sense of restoration. The author describes monumental artists as those who create public, purpose-driven work that shifts space energy and offers immersive, healing environments for large audiences. The framework is presented as a data-supported method for environmental wellness, aiming to design public spaces that act as conduits for community well-being in healthcare, civic, and corporate settings. The current work translates lessons from public art into modular prototypes to bring restorative design into high-stress facilities like healthcare environments. El Paso County launches a property protection program to alert owners when a document is filed using their name, with enrollment required and coverage limited to filings after enrollment. In-person review remains available at the clerk and recorder's office. The program allows registration of multiple name variations and household members, but expansion of coverage options is still being explored and is not yet guaranteed. A separate item urges wildfire preparation using the Home Ignition Zone booklet, with practical steps like removing pine needles from gutters to reduce risk. Monument residents can create a secure Community Connect account to share special needs and access information for firefighters during emergencies. Colorado school bus safety updates include automatic stop arm cameras being installed to catch passing violations, with Academy District 20 already using bus cameras for safety and documentation. Readers are urged to stay vigilant for suspicious activity, reporting details to authorities, and get involved in local volunteer programs and food assistance resources.
Thank you for joining us for highlights from the articles and columns from this issue of OCN. To dive into the full articles and columns or explore more content, visit ocn.me. Don't miss out, sign up for our community newsletter to stay updated with every new post.